Hi, my name is Elia and I'm presenting from Tottenham, Ontario, Canada. On behalf of the Applied Sports Psychology class, I'll be presenting our research project, which is Red Light, Yellow Light, Green Light, Go. So originally our research group had a different plan. We wanted to test reaction time scores with different interventions, and we would first record baseline reaction times of each participant, and then using random assignment, we would present 1 of 5 stimuli a week later. So using that data, we'd then compare the reaction times and see if there's any significant differences between people's reaction times with and without an intervention. Now, given the unforeseen circumstances, we changed our study design. So instead of using our original idea, we collected data from ourselves. We decided to record a baseline test of our own reaction times and then a week later test our reaction times once again, without using any interventions. From there, we would run analyses by comparing reaction times and demographic information to gain a better understanding of reaction times and what naturally affects them. That way, we can create a foundation for information that we can use to pilot future studies. Now, a little bit of background information suggests that fast and slow music tempos can change reaction time speeds. Music was actually going to be one of our interventions in our initial study. Other research suggests that eating foods such as pomegranates and broccoli that are rich in vitamin K can also improve your reaction time. Next, peppermint gum or using peppermint-scented oils has also proven to have a significant influence on reaction time speeds. We are also going to use chewing peppermint gum as one of our interventions. Research also suggests that maintaining physical health by stretching, yoga, and exercising daily can also improve reaction times. And lastly, that duration of sleep and sleep patterns can change in individuals' reaction times as well. So now that we had changed our original study, we had to formulate new hypotheses to suit our research goals. We developed a total of 5 new hypotheses that we hoped would help us gain the best understanding of reaction times possible. Our first hypotheses predicted that significance would be found between test scores from the first week and the second week. Our second one looked to analyze athletic status and reaction time scores. The third followed a similar format in hand dominance, and that'll have a significant effect on reaction time scores. The fourth one aimed to look at participants with darker eye colors to see if they had a significantly faster reaction time than those with lighter colored eyes. And lastly, if duration of sleep would have a significant effect on reaction time scores. So in order to collect the data to test these hypotheses, every person in the class filled out the demographic section we would have originally used in our first study's design. This section contained things like gender, ethnicity, eye color, hand dominance, your athletic status, whether you're an athlete, retired athlete, or non-athlete, and asked participants to gauge how much water they were consuming. This was done on a Likert scale based on daily required amount. Then each person completed the Washington University online reaction time test. Each person completed 10 trials, or 2 rounds of the test, recorded their average score, median, and range. A week later, each person did the same thing and recorded their average score, median, and range once again. If you're interested in testing your own reaction times, you can follow this link here or search Washington University Online Reaction Time Test. So after all the data is collected, we were able to analyze the demographics of the sample. The sample was very small, consisting of only 17 people. 58.82% of the sample were female, and the average age was about 21 years old. Out of the 17 people, 58.8% had darker colored eyes, so brown and hazel, and the remaining 41.2% had lighter colored eyes, either green or blue. 11.8% of the sample had past concussion experiences, and 41.2% wore glasses. The majority of the sample was right-handed and averaged about 6.7 hours of sleep each night. Most of the participants were athletes, and the average hydration level was 2.94, which means that almost everyone consumed the daily required amount of water. Then after collecting all that information, we began to test our hypotheses. To test our first hypotheses, which predicted that there would be a significant difference between reaction time scores, we used a paired samples t-test. The results could not support our hypothesis, but this paired samples correlation was significant. This means that if you had a fast test score the first week, you are likely to have a fast test score again in the second week's trial. So our second hypothesis predicted that athletic status would have a significant influence on reaction time scores. Since there were smaller numbers of retired athletes, we grouped them with the athletes to run an independent samples t-test. The result of this test concluded that there was no relationship between these two variables. In our third hypothesis, we proposed that hand dominance would influence reaction time scores. But since we literally had one left-handed person within our sample, it would be invalid to test this hypothesis. So in conclusion, 94.1% of our population were right-handed people, and 5.9% were left-handed. In the fourth hypothesis, we predicted that participants with darker colored eyes would have faster reaction times than those with lighter colors. An independent samples t-test was used to test this and concluded that participants with darker eye colors do not have significantly faster reaction times than those with light colored eyes. Rather, you can see that the mean of participants with lighter colored eyes had quicker reaction times, but this is not a significant finding, it's just an observation. Lastly, a Pearson-Czar correlation was conducted to determine if duration of sleep affects reaction time. There is no significant relationship between these two variables. For our discussion, we went through all of our data and all of our tests, and we found that unfortunately we cannot accept any of our hypotheses. And within this study, we did have several limitations. First, that we had to redesign the whole study and focus on gaining a foundation of research rather than testing interventions. We also had a super small sample. With only 17 people, it's difficult to generalize our data towards a bigger population. Despite this, we are still able to gain a better understanding of how physical characteristics can influence reaction times. In the future, we hope to take this data and use it as a baseline comparison to the revamped reaction time study we plan to continue in the fall. If you're interested in conducting studies like this, we are completing our initial study plans in the fall. This course, Sci 200, is available for registration and self-service. This course is also offered in spring semesters if you can't take it in the fall and are still interested. On behalf of our Applied Sports Psychology class, thank you for your attention, and we hope that you stay safe and well.